Hey everyone, it's time for Saturday scrapbooking. So I have 2 pieces of white linen cardstock and I've got a bunch of pictures. This one is from Robben Island looking in at Table Mountain. And then this is out on the water as we were on the ferry back. And that picture is actually us walking to the ferry. So I wanted that one before the open water. And then the next one is my husband and I outside on the ferry deck, and the wind was blowing my hair all crazy. We were laughing. And then when we got back into Cape Town, we wandered around the V&A Waterfront, and it's a really cool area that has like this artwork. That horse was made out of gears, and there's all kinds of cool artwork and stores and shops and seals on the deck there, and there was a choir out there singing and some colorful animal statues. We went to a really amazing restaurant, which I didn't put a picture of. And here I did cut out some matte layers for this photo. I cut 2 because I'm going to ink them up. I didn't have a cardstock that I liked that fit well with it. So I've got this Marina Mist ink that I'm going to ink that up and see how I like that. I also have this die cut tag from white cardstock that I decided I wanted to use this All in Create stamp set and stamp that image on and emboss it with some metallic embossing powder. Then I have this sticker tag, and then I have this wooden anchor that I also want to emboss with the metallic embossing powder. And I have some 49 Market chipboard words. I'll either use the one that says memories or moments. And I have this sticker book from Recollections that also has a page that had some little mini sentiment stickers that were on blue background, and it kind of fit with the theme of the page. And I have a receipt from a store that we bought stuff from at the V&A Waterfront that I wasn't sure if I wanted to try to incorporate somewhere on the page. I will try to fit it in later, but it doesn't really work out, so I don't end up using it. And then I have these different gears because some of these statues were made out of gears. So I'm going to move things out of the way a bit and ink blend. I wasn't sure if I wanted to add some of that blue ink behind these pictures here, just to incorporate some of that blue, but I was kind of struggling with how to do it, so I decided to go ahead and ink up the edges of this matte layer and start there. So now that that is all inked up, I'm just giving a quick clean and then putting the picture on to see, and I'm happy with that color. But I did decide to do another matte layer with this, I believe it's Night of Navy, just a little bit darker, and see how that goes. But I don't end up using this one. It was a little bit too dark. So I'm bringing that first page back in, lining up those pictures, and layering these on to see which one I really liked. And I like the lighter one. So I figured I might as well go ahead and adhere that photo onto that matte layer. And then back to this page again. I was still undecided if I wanted some color there or if I just wanted to leave it white. And I kind of could not make up my mind in that moment, so I decided to go back to page 1 again. And I'm going to adhere these 3 pictures down with some score tape. I knew that I wanted these just with the white border behind them. They were 4x6 pictures, and I believe I cut them down to 3.5x6 just to make them fit a little bit better. Correction, they are 3 3/4 by 6. And now I'm going to work on this tag. And I'm using this All in Create stamp with clear embossing powder, or clear embossing ink by Wow, and Wow Metallic Platinum embossing powder. And then I realized that wasn't the color that I was hoping for. So I've taken some Recollections Champagne embossing powder. And this color, you'll see in a moment here, the 2 side by side. The one on the right is the one that I wanted to use because it matches the gears that I have a little bit better. So I'm just going to layer that sticker tag over, and I decided I wanted to add a little bit more stamping and embossing on the tag. So I get that done, and I'm happy with that. And now I am inking up that anchor and embossing that, and this turns out beautifully. It's kind of hard to see there, but you'll see it shine a little bit later on. And so far I am liking how this looks. That's going to go somewhere around there. And then that little chipboard word is going to come on top. I took out memories and moments, but I liked the layout of the moments better. Okay, now back to the second page. My original thought of inking it up with blue just wasn't sitting well with me, so I just decided to add some of those gears on and see how it looked. And I was quite happy with that. Now here's where I do try to put that receipt in. Really trying to fit it in because I thought it would be kind of cool to include that. Just wasn't working on this layout for me personally. I even went and got my 20 Rand and tried to incorporate that, see if that would help. It didn't. So I will eventually end up taking both of those off. And sometimes less is more. But I did want to add a little banner with V&A Waterfront on there because that's where we were. So I've taken out some ink and I decided to go with the darker ink, that Night of Navy, I believe, and these little alphabet stamps that I've had in my stash for quite some time. And I'm gonna just bring out a ruler just to help me get it lined up a little straighter. I don't really care if it's perfectly straight, but I wanted it, somewhat straight. So I'm just stamping each letter there and quickly dabbing the stamp off on a baby wipe to clean it as I go. And then I'll cut it down to size. I wasn't quite sure how big I wanted this banner, so I kind of started with it still pretty big. And I am adding a little dovetail to it. And then I thought maybe I should ink it up, like that could be where some of the blue ink is incorporated. So when I do start inking it up, I just using that brush there and it got too much ink. So I thought, oh well, I'll cut it down a little bit smaller because I wasn't sure the sizing I wanted of it anyways, and I actually like it better smaller. So now I'm inking that up with the Marina Mist ink. And I am liking how this is turning out. So I'll just quickly clean that up. I like to clean up as I go along. And now I'm just going to lay it on the page and see how it looks. And yes, I am happy with that. So now to adhere things down onto the page, it's time to put the pictures on. I decided to bring out my T-square ruler and try to put these on straight. I think for me personally, I'm a little better at just eyeballing it. I was struggling a bit with the ruler. It did help a little bit. Got the left and right spacing right. But I try to line that one up. Sorry for my head getting in the way. But then I'm like, you know what? That didn't work. Let me just eyeball it. That was much better. And I think I probably need to invest in a tape runner again. Mine ran out, and so I'm using this score tape, which, I mean, sticks fantastically. But it just is a little slower maybe. But that's what I have, and it works. Use what you have, right? So once the pictures are all stuck down, next I'm going to adhere that little banner down. I'm just using score tape for that as well. And then I will bring out my Barely Art glue and glue all of those gears in place. I love this glue with its tiny little precision tip, and you really do not need a lot of it to adhere things down. And next I am going to attach the photo onto that border, that mat that I inked up, and then stick that down onto the page at a slight little tilt, and then gluing down the little tags here. and that anchor. And then the little sentiment. And finally, I did choose a sticker out of that book. I chose a little one that says, "This is awesome," and I'm just adding it towards the bottom of that banner. And here's the finished layout. I love that picture of the ocean. So pretty. And that anchor and that tag, I love how those turned out with the metallic embossing. Definitely I'll be doing that again. And then this page, the one I wasn't sure if I should add blue ink in places, I like the way I did it, so I'm quite happy with that. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. And if you're interested in seeing any more of my scrapbooking videos or card making videos, consider subscribing. That would be wonderful. And anyways, have a wonderful, peaceful day. Thanks again for watching.